how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Google. Google has decided to drop a really controversial sponsorship of a pride and drag show after hundreds of their employees signed a petition calling it a direct affront to the religious beliefs and sensitivities of Christians. Yes, a $1.5 trillion company got pushback from their employees who said they were offended by a sponsorship they had planned, and they did actually back down and cancel the sponsorship. It goes to show what you can accomplish if you just stand up, have your voices heard, and come up with a good strategy. This was an excellent strategy, and the reason Google dropped this is because ultimately, with hundreds of employees offended and well organized, it could have been a very public and very annoying lawsuit. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get to 25,000 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, please do subscribe. Thank you for that. Coming from Daily Mail, Google drops its sponsorship of Pride and Drag Show after hundreds of employees signed a petition calling it a direct affront to their religious beliefs and sensitivities as Christians. Google has dropped its sponsorship of a San Francisco Pride event after hundreds of employees signed a fiery petition lashing out against it. The tech giant sponsors a series of LGBT events across the U.S. annually, and this year, the headline event was due to be a Pride and Drag show at Beau Gay Bar featuring popular performer Peaches Christ. I've never heard of Peaches Christ. Maybe you have. This is Peaches Christ on my screen. And okay, well, they canceled you. Google employees noticed the San Francisco show was removed from its internal events page after a petition was launched opposing the event on religious grounds, according to memos seen by CNBC. Signed by a few hundred people, the petition claimed that Peaches Christ performances routinely sexualize and disrespect Christian values, while accusing Google of religious discrimination for sponsoring the act. That is a serious accusation. Directly sponsoring it, directly financing it, and having it be known that employees are this offended and that it offends their personal religious beliefs, that is a serious accusation. I'm not surprised they backed down, but I'm really pleased to see the employees get so organized and so focused that Google really didn't have a defense in going forward with this. Speaking about the 49-year-old drag queen, it read, "Their provocative and inflammatory artistry is considered a direct affront to the religion, beliefs, and sensitivities of Christians." The authors of the petition also demanded an apology from the organizers, saying they had complained to Google's HR department, People Operations, alleging the venue violated the company's event guidelines regarding sexually explicit activity. Peaches Christ, who shot to fame on the California drag scene following the launch of their night movie series Midnight Mass in 1998, hit back at the petitioners, accusing them of promoting, quote, anti-queer and anti-gay rhetoric. Writing on Facebook, the drag queen said, "This is another example of the really disturbing rise in anti-queer and anti-gay rhetoric that is using drag performers and trans people as scapegoats." Yeah, but you kind of are offending them and their religious beliefs, so it is a situation where the employer can't really choose a side and say, we're going to finance this side and not finance that side. It's too complicated for Google to be involved in something like this. They would have a lot of liability, and they would also be really susceptible to some very seriously bad publicity. And with the budlight effect going, and what happened to Target, you never know what could happen. Google doesn't need that kind of trouble. Quote, "Anyone who knows me and knows my career knows that I use this drag character and name to present love, to make people laugh, to create entertainment, and to create space for outsiders." The California drag queen added that the show went ahead without Google sponsorship. Quote, "It was a joyous and unapologetic display of fabulous drag artists creating art and entertainment for an appreciative audience." Google's initial internal advertisement for the Pride and Drag show, which has since been removed, presented it as the final act to wrap up this amazing month on Tuesday. The tech company said it no longer considered the planned headliner as a Google-recognized diversity and inclusion event, and it offered an alternative social gathering at its offices instead. Google spokesperson Chris Pappas told CNBC the internal team responsible for planning the drag performance failed to put it through the company's standard events process, whatever that means. That implies the reason that it was canceled was not because of the petition, but because you didn't follow the standard events process. I have to say, I don't really believe that, because when it comes to the standard events process, really, who cares? It's probably just a few $1,000s here or there. For a company like Google, there really isn't a financial issue for something like this. It's just an issue of, if you're going to offend enough employees that are actually serious about their religion, you really can't do that and escape a lot more trouble than it's worth. So they were clever and decided, you know something? This is probably a fight that Google doesn't need to have. Peaches Christ, birth name Joshua Grinnell, is a doyen of the drag scene starting out in the 1990s and often makes religious references in their shows. Quote, while the event organizers have shifted the official team event on site, the performance will go on at the planned venue, and it's open to the public so employees can still attend, according to Peaches Christ. Quote, we've long been very proud to celebrate and support the LGBT community. Our Pride celebrations have regularly featured drag artists for many years, including several this year. They launched Midnight Mass, a night movie event series, in the summer of 1998. Peaches Christ launched Midnight Mass, a night movie event series, in the summer of 1998, which attracted sellout crowds at the Bridge Theater until its closing season in 2009. The show featured special guests, including the likes of RuPaul, Mink Stoll, and Mary Warrenoff. This comes months after tragedy struck the drag queen during their UK tour earlier this year. Peaches Christ said they found their close friend and co-performer Heclina dead at their shared London apartment in what they described as a real-life nightmare scenario. The pair had been touring with their stage production Mommy Queerest, a parody of the 1981 drama film Mommy Dearest, which had been set to run for 2 weeks at London's Soho Theatre. People actually go and pay to see these things. American Icelandic Heclina, whose birth name was Stefan Greigleko, died at the age of 54. Writing on Instagram on April 6th, Peaches Christ shared the results of a Westminster postmortem for Heclina, showing there was no obvious sign of an assault and no sign of foul play, but the cause of death was still being determined. So somehow this Heclina got killed, whose original real name was Stefan, and that involved Peaches Christ. It sounds a little bit suspicious to me. The great thing about this story, and it really is inspirational, is to see how employees who felt their religious rights were being violated by their employer got together, got organized, put together a very solid petition, brought it to Human Resources, and insisted that Human Resources deal with what was going on. Their employer is not in a position to be able to discriminate against their employees openly like that. It would be an interesting case to see it tested, but there's no way that it would be open and shut in Google's favor. It's very likely Google would have lost. This would have been very public. It would have made them choose sides. It would have caused more problems with them, potentially for their stock, but definitely inside their company. And as much as Silicon Valley likes to do whatever they want all the time, when it comes down to it, it's very hard to miss what's been going on with the Bud Light effect, to miss what's been going on with Target, and to see that, yes, multi-billion-dollar companies can be affected. Not yet a multi-trillion-dollar company like Google worth $1.5 trillion, but the pattern is there, and it's something they actually have to be conscious of. They can't just do whatever they want in the face of employees that are well-organized, very thoughtful, with a complete, well-written petition, ready to stand up for their rights. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. If you were one of those Google employees and you felt like your religious rights were being violated, would you sign a petition and bring it to Human Resources and say, hey, you need to address this. You're not allowed to sponsor something that I feel honestly insults my religious beliefs. Would you be one of those people? Also, are you surprised like I am that this actually worked out in the favor of the employees because they stood up for themselves? Is that the end of the story that you expected to hear? Let me know what you think. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.